Hello everyone, my name is Fernando Mijaich and I will be presenting on liability and disaster. This is the legal spectrum of things and how it correlates with emergency management operations that occur in our country every day. Let's dive into some legal terminology here. The first is direct liability. It's exactly what it sounds like. An individual or a business, one causes harm to one or the other, or one of the other, what have you, and they seek retribution from the aggressor. A great example of this would be a fight or an altercation. There is an aggressor and there is an injured party. The injured party meets with an attorney, builds a case to take to court to try and seek compensation from the aggressor. The most common form of compensation would be monetary compensation because money speaks louder than words these days. The most common kind of liability that exists is this one, respondeat superior. This one pertains to emergency management specifically. The definition would be, person or entity is held legally responsible for the actions or omissions of another person or entity that they are legally bound to. A good example of this one would be, I would be a business owner. I send an employee out to get supplies for my business during the workday. They get into a car accident. Assuming that my employee is the aggressor, the injured party has legal precedent to sue me, the company, because I was being negligent and they are under my supervision. This happens a lot with FEMA. People sue FEMA over suing their smaller agencies or smaller groups of volunteers because there is a larger payout when suing the federal agency. A lot of the time attorneys advise their clients to go after FEMA because of the larger payout. There are tons of litigation cases against FEMA and citizens of this country, but these are three that stood out to me. In Hurricane Maria in 2018, the people of Puerto Rico were tired of the lack of transparency when it comes to funds allocation. So they sued, and FEMA had to deal those documents over. Probably caused a lot more problems for them in the future, but the people got what they wanted. Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans in 2005. An encyclopedia's worth of litigation and legal problems, but FEMA was held liable in a case where a band of citizens in a community came together and started a class action lawsuit to try to get FEMA to give them aid in a more timely manner. They were dissatisfied with the time frame that they were getting their money. And they won. The court ruled in their favor. The biggest one that I found went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, Hurricane Harvey. A house of worship was being stopped from applying for federal aid, and they sued FEMA. The Supreme Court ruled in their favor, and that case set a precedent for not only that house of worship, but every house of worship to be able to apply for federal aid. So it ended up helping people that didn't even know that they needed help. That's the end of my presentation, and I really hope that you learned something from it, and I also hope that you have a great summer.